In the last episode of Surviving with Shoeler, I challenged myself to be as busy as possible, completing a huge terraforming project, building an apartment complex for my villagers, and making a storage system. This episode, we're gonna take it easy, take a chill pill. I do have plans for the episode. I will build something, it just won't be as intense. Last episode, I promised that in between episodes, I would put all of these villagers into their rooms, and I did, but it was far more finicky than I could have ever thought. Basically, these guys, even after claiming beds in the apartment, will choose any bed closer to them, so I had to completely deprive the village of beds just so they would go to their designated spots. If you haven't noticed, I placed down a bunch of barrels here to create a bunch of fisherman villagers, and this is because if they didn't have a job, they would never leave the apartment complex, so I had to give them all jobs, and I just ended up putting it right here. So they also struggled on this staircase, which used to have a big hole down the middle and some railings so that they wouldn't fall off, but of course they fell off and they K'd their S's. It was not fun. So as a temporary solution, I put up this little fire escape thing to the side of the building, and they exclusively use this thing now. And I was worried that it was gonna look bad, but honestly, I really like the detail that it adds to this build. Finally, I name tagged this wandering trader so that we would have a little more variety in our villagers. Also in the last episode, we dug a little cave and then put my storage room at the end. I'll talk about this guy later. But as you can see, I have done a lot more work on this. Before, we just had these wooden beams, not even really any lights, and I had all these chests and I had them sorted and stuff. I've added in a bunch of crafting things, a carpet, a barrel floor, and then I also added in these leaves in the background and a spore blossom, which I think kind of make the vibes freaking awesome. I also created this little nook over here with, of course, a bed and some armor and an ender chest, buttons, all this kind of stuff. And this area is just so nice. If you look right here, you can see whether it's day or not, which I feel like could be helpful. As you can see here, I trapped a villager in here who used to be a little kid zombie, so I'm not being weird by trapping him. But I cured him, and then now I'm going to probably make him a farmer and just get really cheap prices for golden carrots, which I actually already did for someone else. This guy right here, he also used to be a kid zombie, but now I have cheap carrots. I don't know what they're all doing out. It's nighttime. It's nighttime. My goodness. I'm trying my hardest to not leave projects unfinished, so in this episode, I think I'm going to finish terraforming up this cave and its entrance, and maybe add in a little structures poking out of the top so that I can put my cats in there, which, as you can see, I have a lot. Alright, I got some blocks, and now it's time to tinker away at the shape of the outside of this cave. And while I do that, I want to tell you guys about the story of my biggest regret ever. So in my freshman year of college, in my second quarter, I took this online class called Monsters, which is exactly what you think it would be. It was a class all about monsters, vampires, ghosts, Frankenstein, all that kind of stuff. I don't know, it fulfilled a requirement. Sue me. But in that class, which was 10 weeks long, we had an ongoing group assignment. And so at the beginning of the year, we were assigned random groups and random monsters. So some people did a project about dragons, and some people did a project about giants and ghosts and all that kind of stuff. My group was assigned sea monsters. It was a great project. We got great grades. It was awesome. But one of the pages on our website had to be an About Us page, so we all put in our little photos and added in a little description. Hey, I'm Skylar, I'm 19, all that kind of stuff. And there was one guy in my group, his name was Luke. I don't think it was Luke, but it had Luke vibes, if that makes sense. It wasn't Duke, it wasn't Buke or anything like that. I know it wasn't that, but anyways, he was just like, I don't know, like a guy with brown hair, brown mustache, kind of a tall, lanky dude. And I talked to him a couple times in class. It was cool, but we didn't really have a connection or anything. We didn't talk outside of class. It was just in our required Zooms. So one day, I'm at the campus dining hall with some of my friends, and, you know, we're having a good time, and I eventually spot out of the corner of my eye, oh, I think that might be Luke. But I wasn't sure, so I had to confirm first. And my mind immediately went, oh yes, there's a picture of him on that website. So I logged in and stuff, and then I found the picture, and then I compared it, asked my friends, and they're like, yeah, I think that's him. And so now I was just nervous because I wanted to say something to him. I wanted to say like, hey, we're in the same class, but like that's so awkward. So I was just trying to work up the courage to talk to him. And then eventually I came up with a brilliant idea. Oh, what if I talk to him about something else? Like, hey, I'm in your class, but also, what do you think about water skiing? Stuff like that. And I was worried that he was going to leave because he was there before us. So there was a real time crunch at stake here. But eventually I hatch a brilliant plan and I open up the About Us page and I start scrolling through his stuff and reading it aloud. And oh my goodness gracious, if you're trying to figure out this Luke guy, that place is a gold mine. I started reading it aloud going, oh, okay, oh, he likes cooking, blah, 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 blah. Oh, wow, he likes to ski, blah, 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 blah. All that kind of stuff. I was getting so much information. I was like, okay, I like cooking a little bit too. I've skied once. And so eventually I reached the second half of his About Me page, which for our class we were required to talk about our favorite monsters or the monsters that scare us the most. And so he was like, oh, so my favorite monster is Bigfoot. And then the monster that I'm most afraid of are religious types of monsters because my family, they're all atheists. And so I was afraid of the Nun and the Conjuring and stuff like that. And as I say this, a man comes up to our table and he goes, did you say God? And immediately alarms are going off in my brain. Missionary alert. But I look at him and he's just wearing a sweatshirt. No collared shirt or anything. So I'm like, okay, he's one of us. So I say, yeah, but I was just trying to figure out this guy. His name's Luke. And, you know, I'm trying to figure out what he likes so I can talk to him. I'm building up the courage. And the guy goes, oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, I could talk to him potentially for you. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that would be great. And so we're just talking for a little bit. We talked for like a good 5 minutes. We get to know each other. And eventually when the conversation kind of dies out, he eventually goes, okay, so that guy, you said he was atheist, right? And I'm like, yeah, his family's atheist. He goes, oh, yeah. Cool. And which one is he? And I go, oh, yeah, he's the guy in the red over there. And as I said that, Luke stands up. He's getting ready to leave. And I was about to tell the guy, oh, he's probably leaving. You better go talk to him soon so I can talk to him. And before I even finish that sentence, the guy is bolting over there. So the guy's running over there and my friends and I begin talking amongst ourselves. And we start kind of putting the pieces together. We go like, okay, that's a little weird that like he was so infatuated about this guy being atheist. And also he did kind of start up a conversation with us after he thought we said God. Could he be a proselytizer? No. Wait, could he? And so the guy comes back after talking to Luke for like 2 or 3 minutes, and he immediately lays everything out on the table. He was like, hey guys, so I'm a part of the Youth Christian Campus organization, also known as Challenge. And I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about God and how God and science can coexist together. And I humored him. I leaned forward in my chair, put my hands together, started nodding and stuff. Oh, yes. It was probably therapeutic for the guy. He was just going crazy on stuff. He's like, yeah, so Jesus was the one who actually predicted that planets are round and that our solar system revolves around a sun. Oh, yes. Wow, that's very cool. And so about 15 minutes later, this guy finishes his spiel and he goes, okay, so are you guys interested in joining Challenge? And I go, no. He goes, okay. I hope you guys have a great night. And so I eventually apologized to Luke and asked him if he was proselytized, and he was. Biggest regret. The moral of the story, well, it's quite simple. I believe it is to trust your instincts and to enjoy life even in its bleakest of moments. And when all hope seems lost, fight, and never give up. Boom! Grand reveal. Really happy with the shape of this. But honorable mention to these little things of moss, which I try to make look like little grassy areas, and I'm going to put like trees and stuff on them. But I just didn't like the look of dirt with this palette, so I kept it to just moss to make it look like a full block of, grass. Now the next logical step would be to put on some grass and like leaves and trees and stuff. But what I want to do first is I want to add in some man-made structures, and I know this is man-made, but I want to do like some buildings coming out of this. But we have done a lot of buildings, so first I'm just gonna, get this guy a job. Oh my goodness. Okay. No, you're not gonna be a fisherman. I'm sorry. You have no other prospects other than to be a farmer. So be a farmer. Finally. Okay, and I have all this wheat that I can trade with him just to get as many emeralds as possible. Come on. Come on. Golden carrots. Now that he's fully upgraded, we're going to move his workstation out of here. Come on, guy. And what we're going to do with this guy is we're going to put him into a minecart. And we're going to send him all the way into the apartments. And yes, this is how I did it for every single other villager. All right, we got him in the apartments. Now we need to get him up to the top floor. Is it a little weird how I do this? Yes. Yes, it is. But is it fun? Yeah, it's really fun. See, now I'm just chasing him up these stairs. And now, hopefully he'll choose to take on these beds. Now I'm just gonna fix up these stairs and then we can get building the next thing. And by the next thing, I mean some structures coming out of this little cave mound. I know you guys are sick of all this terraforming and stuff, so I'm going to be making some structures, maybe a parking lot, Walmart, something like that. As you can see, a little bit has changed since I last showed this off. And I basically just did some busy work, adding in a little pathway and slabs and stuff like that. I smoothed out these with some slabs. Added in some lanterns and stuff, and then I expanded the carpet a little further. And this was all while I was waiting on some copper to oxidize, which I finally did for our structures. So I guess it's time to actually build these things. So what I'm building right here is just a little tower, and you'll see. It's from a creative world build that I have, and I just took it from there and plopped it down over here, and so that's why it might look a little bit awkward. But there is one thing that I want to come clean about in this little time lapse. I am pre-recording all of these episodes. They are coming out. The first episode hasn't even come out yet. And this is so that I can get a little head start and maybe do weekly videos. We'll see. I guess we'll see a month from, me recording this. But yeah, kaboom. Actually, I end all these with kaboom. Bam. Well, there's the tower. Honestly, pretty proud of how it turned out. If it looks a little awkward, I haven't really blended it in with this nature. I want to do a little more terraforming around it and add some leaves and stuff to make it look like I didn't just plant it here. But honestly, I was gonna end the episode after finishing this, but if you look, it just kind of looks off balance with this one right here. I feel like there needs to be something like right here. And then I want to put something right here, like a little window. You'll see. I have some cool plans. I'm oxidizing some copper while I do so. And this one actually is finished, so let me just grab that. And then once all this copper is oxidized, I will begin on this little window thing and a thing up there that I'm still not too sure what I want to do. But in here, I have this little staircase that goes up, and I keep the rock going with how it goes. And you get all the way up to the top. It's a bit of a steep climb, and here we go. It looks unfinished up here. I'll add some things. I'll make it look more finished. But, you got these semi-working windows and stuff. Can see a villager all the way out there, which is strange. But, yeah, I'm going to continue letting all this copper oxidize. And maybe while I'm doing that, I'll sketch out a little plan for all this kind of stuff just so I can use that to, come up with an idea for it. We'll see. It'll look cool. I'll come back to you once all this is done. So I've literally just been sitting in a villager's house waiting for all of this copper to oxidize. And I just figured, there's probably enough that's already oxidized, for me to actually do this build. So I'm just going out mining all my stuff. But while I was waiting, I actually did create a sketch for my plans. Okay, so here it is. Please don't make fun of it because I will get insanely self-conscious about it. So as you can see right here, I put in a little window, and I'm just going to use some spruce and some glass and stuff. And then right above it, I have a little bit of a building. Honestly, I'm not too sure. I know I want a chimney, and that's about it. Maybe some other building around it, but boom! It's time to build it, and I think we'll start with the window. Okay, so I marked out a little spot over here, and I think I'll just dig out a little bit. And I think I'll slope it around as well over here. Just gonna place down some trapdoors, and I'll get this general shape in, and then I'll just show it to you guys once it's completely done. Boom! Look at that. I like that shape. It's fun. Alright, now I'm gonna carve in here and put in the windows and stuff and carve out a room, and luckily I didn't fill this place with stone when I was initially terraforming, so I got a lot of my work already finished for me. I got a little section cleared out, and I think I'm just going to keep clearing it out, maybe do a little terraforming as I go, and then I'll just show you once this room is open and wide. Okay, so I've just been putting in the rough shape. I put in this spruce floor as well, and honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do for this. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and hopefully find some sort of rhythm to it. I think I'm looking to do all this stone on the outline and then have some leaves hanging from the ceiling. I think this could be a pretty cozy spot. So I got all the leaves placed in the general shape of the room, and now I'm just going to do some texturing, maybe add some lights in here, and I got to dig a tunnel down into this cave so I have an actual entrance into here. I'm not really sure how I'm going about this. I'm just kind of digging and hoping that it works out and it looks good in the end. Honestly, I wasn't sure about how kind of digging, into this room would look, but I'm really liking the look. All right, so I finished everything up. Now I just carved out a little thing for a carpet, and I'm gonna just start with some moss on the ground, and I came up with a cool design idea. So you obviously have this moss that you can use for texturing, but then if you plant some azalea trees, there's even more stuff going on, which is pretty freaking cool if I do say so myself. And finally, this one's a little obvious. You can add in some good texture just by placing down some carpets, and yeah, now we got a pretty good looking carpet in here. And a nice looking room too. Obviously I did some texturing, put in some bushes and stuff, some lights, leaves, and then I made this entire little entranceway from the base, which I think looks pretty cool. I'm so sick of these freaking string things though, because they're just so annoying, but it's the only way that you can stop these guys from going all the way down. If there is some way to do this in any other way, please tell me, because this is annoying. Last thing we need to do is just unsit all of our cats and hope that they all come with me. Gonna count them. 1, 2, 17, and I think that's all of them. Looking at this, I'm pretty proud of how this little room turned out. Well, there they all are. A very loud, annoying room, but it is cozy, and it is filled to the brim with cats. I'm very proud of how this turned out, and I think that this little slope really adds a whole lot to this entranceway too. The only thing I have left to do on this guy, other than like grass and trees and stuff like that, is just one thing over there. But honestly, we have done a lot in one episode, and I think I'm just gonna end it here. We got a lot to do next episode. We gotta finish up this thing over here, maybe add in some grass and stuff, and then I want to actually finally do my starter base over here. And you know what? I have some things I need to reveal too. Thank you all so much for watching another episode of Surviving with Shoeler. And honestly, you've made it all the way to the end. You like this content. So hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and I promise it will show up in your YouTube feed again. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode of Surviving with Shoeler.